as well as software. So, it's just not one thing because it's all interdependent. You
So
can't.
let me pick on that for a couple of more minutes, then I'll go back to my other guests for a more broader conversation. But this is really important. So now explain to people watching this broadcast, okay, what are the components does it take to R&D to build a drone, and not just a drone which is a cheap duplicate, but actually something that's better than what was before.
So basically, in R&D, first of all, that you need to do is you need to get reliability, because when you're sending it to the defense, reliability comes out of what materials do you choose to build it from, what electronic components, what is it shielding from, is it spoof proof, is it that what traces do those components have, are they manufactured in friendly countries? So you have to have all of that in place, because once you're putting anything into defense, it has to be it has to be foolproof from all angles, not just performance, but from every aspect to the component level as well.
Okay, so let me break it down. Ladies and gentlemen, in a drone, you're going to need a battery system. Okay, you're going to need a chipset system, which is how the drone is going to operate. All right, you'll need motors. You're going to require cameras, and you're going to require communication hardware. Everything else is software. Communication hardware is how is it linking or sending a feedback to wherever the remote station is. So now, in terms of battery, we don't really make very good batteries in India at any scale. I'm talking about lithium ion, lithium phosphate batteries, they don't happen. When it comes to chipsets, we don't make them in India. Okay. Rotors, motors, we can. Material science of cutting edge materials, we are not the best at. Okay. Despite the fact that we make Navy ships, we're not the best at. When it comes to even communication chips, we don't really make them in India. So now that makes the job of Arpan Ghosh, who has to put all these things together, really difficult. Okay. So Arpan, reliably, so that just because the drone is not made in China doesn't mean a percentage of its components might not come from China. Okay. So how difficult does this make your life?
So first of all, as per the policies, you can't get drones from China and sell it into India. You can't get
Yes, yes.
components and so on and so forth. But this is a problem that even the world is facing. It's just not India which is facing these issues. So there are other countries where India has good friendly terms. They've started developing. We at our facility have started developing. The scale is not that big at the moment, but then again, we can proudly say that of course we are making it in India. We are not getting it from countries, sharing land and water bodies with India, just to be correct that way. So, every component, every aspect that we make has to be, at par with the international standards. So you are right that today we are not doing it, but we've picked up small, and component by component we are building it. So tomorrow we not only want to be a drone company which is just making drones, but we also want to become a company where we are also making our own components step by step, because these are very huge and heavily dependent onto R&D, battery manufacturing setup, maybe chipsets. You understand the amount of investment it goes in. So for even VCs to come and invest in us at that scale, it is going to take some time, but of course we'll be there.
Okay, so now that's the difficult part of the picture. Now let me give you the better part of the picture. The better part of the picture is India is starting lithium mining in Chhattisgarh. Okay, we're doing geological research currently in Leh Ladakh. Okay, so India's first lithium mine is about to start rolling. India's first lithium battery manufacturing companies in India have started rolling out. I know they're not gigawatt plants, but they've started rolling out. So in 2 to 3 years, you will have lithium from India with lithium batteries being made in India, and hopefully by then you'll also have sodium ion batteries and others. Okay, and that's the component. And if it's made in India, great news for Arpan. Okay. Next, he's going to need the chipsets. He's going to maybe want to design his own chipsets, but somebody will have to fab them, and that's happening in Gujarat now. That's happening in the Northeast, where India's first fabricators are now being built. Now, they're not going to be fabricators at the level that which TSMC is operating, which is now 3 nanometers or 4 nanometers. They won't be there, but it will be good enough for what Arpan is. So, even if they come down to 20, 30 nanometers, they'll be good enough for what he needs. Arpan, one last question. So for people watching the broadcast and they see a drone, they probably see it at the shadi, okay, or at some kind of photo shoot. What are those drones? I mean, those drones are certainly not made in India drones, are they?
No, they are surely not made in India, because again, the photographers operating it, if you sell them and made in India drone, it's anyways going to be way expensive than the Chinese drones that have entered into the market. So of course they're not the real drones that are made in India. They're just they get it from places. and they fly. So that's not the correct impression of the drone that what we make in India.
Okay, last question. Okay, I'm sorry. I really want to get into this because it's fascinating. But on an overall picture, I know you can't share specifics with me, but when we talk drones in defense, there are UAVs which actually have missiles on them, right? And they can fire and shoot stuff, right? Then there are the kinds of jugaad things which have been done in Ukraine, that you take a drone and you, with a rassi, hang a grenade from it, and it's a suicide drone. All right, it's a cheap thing. You use it to blow up a tank. Are we looking at basically use cases on surveillance, or are we actually looking at fighting capacities? What's the future out there?
So the future is very simple. The forces are looking into surveillance. They're looking into drones with RCWS, which is remote controlled weapon system. Then they are looking at suicidal drones, which are which are kamikazes, and then they are looking at loitering ammunition. So
Okay.
these are the things. Plus, we're getting into non-contact warfare. So drone is of course going to play a very vital role
Yeah,
in that.
that's the future. And General Butt, can I get you to wear a different hat for a minute? Okay.